Hey, everybody, welcome into Talking Tactics with Coach Gough. This is Coach Brad Gough, and this is part two in a two-part series. Question coming from Brett Sova asking the difference between playing with two strikers or two tens. The last video answered what it's like or what it's supposed to be like, at least on paper, playing with two strikers. This video is about playing with two number 10s. So because this is building off of that video, I'll ask you go back, find that video in your social feed or on YouTube and watch it if you're a little confused here, because we're going to just jump right into FC Cincinnati building out of the back. And we're going to do that by pulling up my whiteboard here. And you're going to see this is playing with two number 10s. You see two number 10s on the field. Those are two attacking midfielders, one single high striker. FC Cincinnati is building out of the back. Now, the 9 is mostly always trying to stretch or push that back line. He's occupying these center backs. Now, as for the 10, similar to what I talked about with the strikers, you're reading the run of your partner and figuring out where to go. So the near side, the ball side 10 checks 2. There's space for this far side 10 to look to get into. Now, this 10 might run directly into that space depending on what the defender is doing, but really he's looking, can he be a first option or a second option? The ball goes to the wing back. He gets into that space to get that second pass. So occasionally, let me pull this number 10 back here. The other thing about playing with two number 10s and only one 9 is if this striker checks to the ball, there's nobody occupying those center backs. So now it's this far side 10's job to try to kind of push and give some height to the team to keep those center backs honest. So that's important as well in this formation. So this weak side 10 has a lot of responsibility of giving the team height. A strength here is that you always have a striker pinning, and if they are pinning that center back and being an option up high, is if they do receive that ball, they will always have at least two options to play underneath to, right? This is that in out, and then those 10s can make a decision to go from there. And then another strength of this is similar to what I talked about playing in layers. When that striker checks forward, this far side 10 can ghost in behind for a long ball, and oftentimes, or maybe sometimes, won't be picked up because the defense is not aware that that's happening. A weakness here is that the striker can get isolated. If the midfield 10s drop too deep, there's just too much space here. And even if the striker does a really good job of pinning those center backs, if they do get this pass, they just have a lot of time to try to hold up that ball because they can't immediately play underneath to those 10s because they're too far away or there's defenders in between them. Another thing about this that's a weakness is that if those 10s check to the ball and then kind of stay, if they don't get it, if they're marked really tight, it can just clog space and become really static. Those defenders just sit on them and compress space, and they need to get in and out of space. They need to move, even if it's subtly, like just starting into where I just drew that circle there. They need to be able to provide some dynamism. They need to move the ball quickly. So now let's get to the meat of Brett's question. What would be best for a Luca Orellano? Again, formations are mostly semantic, so I don't think it really matters. But if I had to answer, I think Orellano is better at playing as a dual 10, so attacking midfielder underneath a striker rather than a forward. Number one, I think one of Luca's strengths is getting on the ball. He has a clean touch and he wriggles out of tight space and dribbles forward. If you're playing as a striker, remember, presumably you're not doing that all the time. Half the time, your job is to press high and to really provide some height. As a 10, he should be sitting in those half spaces, looking around, finding pockets of space where he can get on the ball, spin, and go more often. Luca Orellano can stretch in behind the defense and he can pick his spots to do that. So playing as a dual 10, again, he can ghost in. He has the opportunity to do that, but he's never going to be like a target outlet. So if he's playing as a second striker and Kevin Denke has more ability and more license to check in, it's not his role and responsibility to pin those defenders, then that means Luca half the time or much of the time, his job is to be that target, and that's not his stretch. So even if he's out there, as a second forward, I would expect him to spend most of his time checking back to the ball and telling his strike partner, Kevin Denke, or whoever else it is up there, pin those center backs, you stay there. So hopefully that helps to answer your question, Brett. It's a big question. Like I said, there's lots of permutations and lots of variability here. But on paper, in one phase of play. That's how I see the difference between playing with two strikers or two number 10s. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching this Talking Tactics with Coach Gough, and thank you for subscribing or following us. Get in touch with us, ask questions. I'm going to do my best to answer more of these. And if you want to make sure your question is answered, you can become a Patreon supporter and ask it on there. Brett was a Patreon supporter. That's why his video gets to lead the line here and be the first out of the gate. You can become a supporter of Cincinnati Soccer Talk over at cincinnati-soccertalk.com/support. Again, thanks for watching this video. Until next time.